I couldn't handle my mom's blatant favoritism toward my sister any longer and called her out for it, but the truth behind it was something I could never have imagined. Posted by you/EastsideWests. Okay, so I, 17M, have a twin sister, and if I'm being honest, our mom has always seemed more partial to her. She's always much quicker to give her hugs and compliments, and she seems a bit more emotionally distant with me. I've noticed it my whole life, and I've tried not to let it bother me, but things finally came to a head recently. I don't really want to get into the inciting incident that started this. Long story short, we've been looking at colleges, and I was upset because it seemed like she wanted my sister to stay local more than she wanted me to. I told her that she's loved my sister more than me our whole lives, that she didn't care about me, and I still don't know why. Today, she came into my room and asked if we could talk. She said there was something she felt it was time to tell me. Then she opened up about her childhood, something she's never done before, and explained that her father SA'd her, and she had brothers who SA'd her too. She said it instilled a deep disdain towards men in her. She told me she's been meaning to go to therapy and get help, but she said it breaks her heart that she ever made me feel like she loved me less than my sister. She told me she's been trying my whole life to get the hell over it and grow up, and that it breaks her heart that I haven't had the mom I deserve. She started crying, and I hugged her and told her I loved her, that she was a great mom, and that I was lucky to have her. Afterwards, I suggested we go out to dinner, just the two of us, and that I could pay, but she said she'd take me up on that under the condition that she'd pay. So we had a really nice dinner, and we talked, and I felt like I connected with her in a way I hadn't before. I can't really explain it, but I felt like I saw her, and she saw me, in a different, but good, way. Overall, gonna be honest, I feel terrible because I feel like I made her trauma all about me. She's a wonderful person, and I don't know why I'd accuse her of not loving me like she loves my sister. All I know is that I'm going to be better to her and understand that she's doing her best, as we all are. That's all. Just figured I'd share somewhere. Update 1 month later. So, I made a post last month about how my mother opened up to me regarding why she's always seemed more partial to my sister. I was going to post an update 2 weeks ago, but the Reddit app crashed, and I lost the post just as I was about to finish it. Frustrated, I rage quit and lost the motivation to write another one. That being said, thank you to those who commented asking for an update. You helped bring back my drive. So, before I get into my update, a few things. First, people have been asking about my father, and, well, I've never met him. My mother has never told us much about him, aside from the fact that he left her to raise us all by herself at the last second. Like really, all by herself. We don't have any family members we talk to. Additionally, some people accused her of telling me the story to manipulate me and give herself a pass, but that's just not true. If you want to argue that she wasn't taking care of herself in the way she should have, then sure, you're not wrong. However, she's not abusive or awful like that. She's just a person in pain. Now on to the update. She goes to therapy on Monday afternoons, and I've been going with her to her sessions. We get dinner afterward. To be honest, the main reason I started going with her was to make sure she goes, and that's been going well. She walked out of one session crying this month, but that's just how it goes sometimes. I've also been seeing eye to eye with my mom in a way I never have before, and I've even been getting along better with my sister, who she also ended up telling about her childhood. My sister has been insanely compassionate towards both me and our mom and will sometimes intentionally leave my mother and me alone so we can bond. And don't get me wrong, my mom is trying her damnedest to connect with me. She's been asking me questions about my hobbies and engaging in them with me, and I truly believe she's a great mom. I'll close this out with an uplifting story from a few nights ago. My sister and I were watching some TV together and stayed up late, so we started heading to bed, but then we heard our mom crying in her bed. We looked at each other, and neither of us knew why she was crying, but I know she's been in pain, so I went in and, without saying anything, laid down next to her. She stopped crying and seemed surprised, but then my sister came into the room and, also without saying a word, got into bed next to us. My mom started crying again, a good cry this time, gave us both a hug, and said, "I love you guys." The three of us all went to sleep together. It genuinely made me feel like my sister and I were little kids again. Obviously, we had a lot less space than we did back then and were packed tightly together, ha, but it was wonderful and reminded me of the old days when we'd all fall asleep together. Anyway, yeah, that's the update. Thank you to the people who commented asking me to post the update and to anyone who left a supportive comment on my last post. It means a lot. Second update 2 months later. So, I figured I'd post another update. This one's not as happy. Ever since I first confronted her about it, I've had this sense of resentment towards her that I've been trying to compartmentalize and deal with later, or at least in my own therapy sessions. Lately, it's been getting harder to ignore, and over the weekend, I lost my temper and yelled at her, asking why she thought it was okay to wait so long to get help and how she probably wouldn't have done anything if I hadn't called her out on her BS. She heard me out, started to cry, and said the only thing she could say was that I'm right, that I've always deserved a mom who would outwardly love me as much as my sister, and that it breaks her heart I didn't get that mother. All she can say is she's sorry and hopes I can forgive her someday. I didn't say anything in return and just left the house. I haven't confronted her since, and I know she feels bad. The crappy part of me feels good about that, but I know she needs all the support she can get, so it's just a crappy situation all around. This is probably above Reddit's pay grade, but I figured I'd post it anyway. Third update 10 months later. I was thinking today and randomly remembered that a year ago, I posted about telling my mom that she's obviously always loved my twin sister more than me. She then explained how she grew up in a house with a father and brothers who regularly SA'd her, and she projected that disdain towards men onto me. Since then, my mother, my sister, and I have been seeing our own individual therapists, and we've had several group sessions together. Today, my sister is away at college, while I stayed local and go to community college. Something, I think, I mentioned in my old post was that my mom was pushing me to go away to school while encouraging my sister to stay local. Funny how that worked out. Anyway, my sister is coming back home this week for the holidays, but I've honestly really enjoyed being here with my mom. She's been making an effort lately to engage with me in things I'm passionate about. I'm a big movie fan, so I've been showing her my favorite movies over the past few months. She's made an incredible amount of progress as well, and I'm so proud of her. We now have a wonderful relationship. It certainly wasn't always pretty over the past year, and even though the work isn't always easy, the payoff is absolutely worth it. So yeah, we're doing a lot better than we were when I made that original post last year.